Is this shit still on? I wouldn't be able to tell anyway. What the fuck? Going back in like double dutch. All right, man. I don't know if the music was still playing or not. I think it was. But what's good, man? We back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man. Today we came to bring y'all another X-Men 97 reaction, review, recap. And this is episode 4, man. I don't know what these other niggas at, man. So I'm just gonna run this shit until somebody pop up, or I just run it by myself, man. You know. So without further ado, let's talk about. Up to this point, the series has kind of on an uphill journey. It started off a little okayish first episode. Second episode was better. Third episode, I don't think the third episode was better in terms of story or the fight scene necessarily, but I will say the third scene was the best. I'm sorry, the third episode was the best visually. Yeah. The third episode was the best visually. So now we get to the fourth episode, and this one is a little bit different than the rest. One thing I will say, I do like how they're kind of switching it up every week. I don't think any week has been like the last. Whether it be the fight scene in the second episode was the best, and then in episode 3 the visuals were crazy, better than any other one. This one was different visually. It was also different in the fact that there were two parts to this episode. The first part was called like Motendo or something like that. It's a play on Nintendo. It was called Motendo, and it was pretty much about Jubilee and Roberto. We're getting more of a spotlight on them. We haven't really had a spotlight on them since episode 1. So this is strictly about the two of them for like the first half of this episode. And then for like the last 10 minutes or so, it goes into Life Death Part 1, which is essentially we get back to the Storm and Forge storyline that we kind of got into last week. Last week we saw Forge pop up because Storm, she ended up losing her powers in the earlier episode. So she no longer has her weather powers and shit. So Forge popped up and he offered her a solution. So the second part of that episode is a continuation of that. So let me say, man, this episode with Jubilee and Roberto was pretty much a video game. So they took it from what we've been seeing, the cartoon version of just the X-Men, doing the X-Men things. And they turned it into a video game within the cartoon. So Jubilee was inside of a video game. Roberto was too. And so visually, I think that's fire. You know what I'm saying? It looks good visually. However, and something that this series may be kind of doing weekly, in my opinion, it's kind of sacrificing on the story. Now, I know it's only 30-minute episodes, which it's not even a 30-minute episode. It's like a 28, 27-minute episode if you take the title scene and then the outro. So I feel like they have a very short amount of time to try and build what is supposed to be a 10-episode season. So far, in my opinion, they're doing a lot of filler-like shit. Now, hopefully everything connects towards the end of the series. But the Jean Grey clone was in the last episode, just for her to leave at the end of the episode. And we get Cable, so maybe that's a reason why we needed that episode. It's a baby Cable, so maybe we get the adult Cable come back later. I don't know. But same with this. Like the first half of this episode, it was Roberto and Jubilee, and they're inside this video game. This guy named Mojo, he kind of traps them. First of all, it's a fucking Motendo in Jubilee's room, and she's like, "Oh, that's not my game. I don't that shit ain't mine." And then she wants to play it, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, her and Roberto just get sucked into the fucking game. It was almost like a VR type of thing where some shit connected to it. I think it was Mojo's like whatever you call the things that he has. I think they connected to the two of them, and they were put inside of the game. And so the game is essentially, what we've seen before. If you lose inside of the game, you lose in real life, and you die in real life type shit. Shout out Black Ass Roots, man. So it's essentially they have to stay alive within this game, or else they're gonna die in the real world type shit. So, what's good, Roots?
Yo, my bad, man.
It's all good, man. So I'm just talking about this episode, and I broke down how the episode came in two parts, and the first part was this Jubilee and Roberto situation. So that's what I'm talking about now.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. What were you saying?
What do you think about how it looks visually?
I think in their efforts of trying shit, this was a fire try. They made it look exactly like, because there's games like that, the 2D platform arcade looking games that have come out within the last 5 years or so. One in particular, they released a new Ninja Turtles game a few years ago, and it looks exactly like this. So to do that for a show, especially an X-Men, one, it makes sense because it's from that era of, kids going to the arcade and shit. And
97, yeah.
Right. And they just did a really good job with it. I feel like it looked super fire in adding the concept of now I feel like they've done that concept before of, oh no, the hero's trapped in a video game.
Yeah.
It still looked cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One thing I kind of said already in this podcast is that although something that I kind of see like over the weeks, in my opinion, is that with it being like a 30-minute episode where it's not even 30 minutes because you got the title, you got the outro.
Right.
It's like they have to try to
more like a cool 24.
Yeah, it's like they got to try to like squeeze a story into this because it's a 10 episode season. I feel like they kind of sacrifice the story in some of these, although it seems like every week is something different that I'm seeing. Like in week 2, like I said, the fight scene was crazy, and then week 3 we had the fight scene. I think the visuals were fire when the queen, I forgot what kind of queen she was, but the Jean Grey clone, like the visuals for that was crazy. And then for this one, it's kind of what you said about the visuals. I like that as well. But also what they did different than this one is that it was a 2-part episode instead of just 1 part like we've been seeing.
Right.
So I kind of think they kind of sacrificed the story.
They definitely did sacrifice a lot of the story. However, I kind of see what they're doing with trying to stick to the old 90s formula of cartoons, because that's what it was for everything. Even shit a little bit later, like a show I used to watch called Sonic X. They run into a different motherfucker every week. They rough them up real quick, and then on to the next part of the story or the next episode, and they'll have like 2 or 3 storylines that's consistent throughout it, and they'll tell it, every other episode and shit like that, where they make progress on that. But the main part of the episode itself is just them dealing with another bad guy. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was able to be introduced to all the different villains in shows like Spider-Man, because there was one villain each episode. One episode you're gonna get Rhino, one episode you're gonna get Scorpion, one episode you're gonna get Green Goblin, and so on and so forth. So they're doing the same thing with this.
But you're right about that. But so the problem that I'm seeing from it is that this is only supposed to be like a 10-episode season, and we're like 4 episodes through, and I'm trying to see like where everything connects or where it's gonna connect, because it's we're almost halfway through it. So I'm just trying to see like where they're leading to, because some of these little things in these episodes just seem like filler.
They definitely are.
That's what I'm wondering, like where are they going with this? Where are they leading to?
Again, I think this season is them testing a lot of shit. Once we get past the testing phase of everything, shit gonna start to pick up, and the storyline is gonna be able to be a lot more fluent instead of choppy like it is now. They're trying different stuff with the visuals and shit like that, seeing how the voice actors are going and shit.
Yeah, because
I will say I can't stand that little gay ass twang. What's his name? Morph guy. I'm sick of that shit. Every time I see him talking, he moving his neck and shit. What's wrong with that nigga?
That's just him, man. You gotta accept it. That's Morph.
I gotta accept shit.
Morph power is fire as fuck. Like that. That's
fire as hell.
The shape shifting power is fire.
Bitch.
So yeah, man. I will say what's keeping me every week is definitely the visuals, and I think the creativity, because there was creativity with this whole video game situation. Even though like the story of it wasn't really that great, like it's creative and it looks good. So that's kind of what's keeping my attention, But then after the Jubilee situation, we get to part 2. It's about 10 minutes, probably like 10 minutes.
I really expected less than that. I'm glad they spent that much time on that they did.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was gonna be. So they split the episode. The first part is Jubilee and Roberto. The second part is Storm and Forge. We get the continuation of that from last week. And Storm, she got some overalls on, man, looking like a little country ass woman, not a goddess.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's cool. Like, yeah, they in the episode riding horses and shit. She used to flying, now she riding horses.
I'm sick of her voice. Like, I get what they're doing. I understand that's how she used to talk back in the day. They could have modernized her a little bit, bro. Like, I'm so sick of this. Winds, say something to me. To
be fair, she talked like a goddess, in my opinion.
Okay, cool, but like, damn.
She talked like the goddess of weather.
Maybe that, again, that's just the whole, because we had the same issue with how Wolverine was acting, how he seemed a lot more stupid. But we're subconsciously comparing them to the live action, where we're seeing Logan played by Hugh Jackman and Storm played by motherfucking Halle Berry.
Yeah,
but still, bro, like, I understand it's like you could be a little bit more modern than how these motherfuckers talk sometimes, bro. Like, the tropes is ridiculous.
Yeah, that don't really bother me as much, because just the way I'm viewing her character, like I'm viewing her character as like this, like I said, like goddess that's kind of out of place at this point. So it's like that's how she talks. I mean, that's how she talks in her goddess form. And now that she's not a goddess anymore, like she's kind of out of place, like the fish out of water type thing. Well, and she's still talking like herself.
Well, the thing is, I can understand if she came from, like, Thor used to talk like that, right? And he changed his shit up, the more he spent time on Earth.
Right.
She was born on Earth. She was a mutant. She was born
but amongst mutants, though, not really with humans.
Still,
like, humans don't fuck with her. She never like assimilated. I feel like Thor assimilated.
Yeah, he assimilated. But
Thor over there
who the
playing
fuck was she
Xbox and
around?
shit, bro.
Bro, who the fuck was she around that talked like that to make her talk like that?
That's her.
That shit's stupid.
That's just her.
She didn't even learn that shit. She just do it.
Yeah.
I feel like she should have lost that little bullshit as soon as she lost her powers. But we see a little something forging between her and Forge.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it started to. And she smacked the shit out that nigga because he lied.
Yeah, he pretty much told her like he is the reason. Well, he designed these mutant neutralizing weapons that we've been seeing in the series. So he didn't create them, but
he built basically built the first like blueprints and shit like that. The prototypes.
Yeah, and then they took them, and the government took them and used them against mutants.
I can understand where he's coming from, but they wouldn't like. Storm is rightfully upset with him. That's how I feel. Like you took the first step. Yeah, they built off of it, but you still took the first step. You pretty much did this in spite of who you are.
Yeah, and I think the reason that they said was like, wasn't he like down on his luck type shit after the war?
Yeah, and said I was lost. I was broken.
So yeah, I mean they gave him a reason. And like Storm, obviously she was pissed. She said, but he lied to her. He was like, well, you wouldn't have let me help you if I told you this. And so something happens where Storm, she tries to leave and she gets on this.
That shit got cold fast.
You know what's crazy? I feel like they keep doing that because they did the same thing in the first part with Mojo. And they did the same thing, I feel like, last week with what was the one last week? Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
I feel like they keep doing that. Like this one right here almost seems very similar to the one in this episode with Mojo. How he just came out the TV and grabbed them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way this little character, the adversary, just came out of nowhere and just grabbed like Storm.
Bro, heroes be off guard as a bitch on this motherfucker, bro.
Yeah, they always get caught off guard. Yeah, every villain on this episode then got the drop. Like every villain on this series then got the drop on the X-Men.
These niggas might be ass, bro.
These niggas get caught lacking every time.
They got caught lacking in their house twice now.
Facts.
That's crazy as hell, bro.
They need to upgrade their security system.
Well, shit, Deadpool say that bitch burned down every 3 years.
That should have never happened. Hey, that should have never happened at Avengers Tower.
Facts.
Like Tony got way too much shit going on.
That shit did get attacked. Hold on. Now that I think about it. Ultron attacked that motherfucker. Loki took that bitch over. Motherfucking
the Ultron shit don't count.
How?
He came from there.
Okay, well, I guess that makes it more they fought in a different way.
Yeah, he came from the
He definitely bought the motherfucking air, but even still, like they security ain't all that tight neither.
That nigga,
the only person I see don't get ran down on like that is Peter Parker.
He wanted Avengers, so. And that's because he got the Spidey senses too. Like he know when it's trouble.
That shit help. Well, hold on. This motherfucker, Beast and Wolverine got heightened senses and shit. They don't never sniff nothing out.
No, they don't. That's why like niggas keep getting the drop on these niggas, bro. They ass low key when it comes to that.
Niggas can't see.
Matter of fact, these niggas might not even be that cold. Like I've seen niggas get on their ass at least a few times in this. That executioner nigga was wilding on niggas.
Definitely. Motherfucking JoJo and them was about what's the bitch name? Jubilee. Jubilee was damn near about to die, and so was Roberto.
When was Jubilee about to die?
Her motherfucking health went low and shit in the in this episode.
Yeah, facts. But I don't remember when
She got saved by
Oh
herself.
yeah. She did get saved, and then
Flying
Roberto
iron.
got
Fuck out
saved
of
by
that.
the extra life. So yeah, they had 2 Jubilees in this hoe that worked together just like last week. They had the two Jean Greys ended up working
Hey,
together.
these motherfucking combos is cold, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I tell you what,
none of them
both
are
of
like
them
Magneto
working
and Storm.
together, both hell no. But both of them, both the Jubilees working together, is way colder than her by herself. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's because like they kind of said it at the beginning, like Jubilee haven't mastered her powers yet. The one she was working with is like the older version of her.
Right.
So like even when the older version was doing shit, she was like, "Oh shit, I can do that." So she don't even know like the shit that she could do yet. That's the Jubilee only
like,
issue.
maybe it's a like a your own journey thing, but you would think like motherfuckers would like in anime. That's what I'm used to. I'm used to anime. I'm used to motherfuckers having teachers and shit for motherfuckers to learn shit, and they'll strive to learn and expand and shit like that. These motherfucking heroes don't never be on that shit.
I think Professor X did. These other niggas know, but Professor X was a nigga that he was like that. He taught niggas shit.
Damn, these niggas lost without the X.
For sure. Like he's the nigga that kept everything together. Like so and also I did notice because I actually kind of looked at the title screen again for the first time in like 3 weeks. So Professor X is on the title screen, which gives me more reason to believe he's gonna be back this season.
That and the little clips they be using for like the intro and shit. I'm assuming because usually it's whenever they do a season, the clips that they use in the intro is from the season, so it's kind of giving you a glimpse of what's ahead.
Either
And I'm
that
seeing
or
this
they
walking
came
around and
from
shit.
the last season, which I don't know.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Maybe he might pull back up.
I definitely think he will because, like they say, he's not dead, so it only makes sense for them to bring him back towards the end. But like, so they pretty much sacrificed this whole episode. I feel like because what was the point of the Jubilee Roberto shit? I feel like it was kind of like this thing.
It was to show them growing closer together again.
And they kept saying this shit about Jubilee. Like he was telling Jubilee she got to grow up. She was talking about staying in the video game and talking about take risk.
This shit was so after school special. Jesus Christ.
That shit could have been a 5-minute segment, bro. That could have been 5 minutes.
You can't stay 18 forever. You got to become an adult.
She just turned 18. Bro. This was her 18th birthday in this episode.
Bro, this was the episode of Arthur, my nigga. This shit was ridiculous. Like that shit was so fucking corny.
Yeah, I just feel like they definitely sacrificing like shit because we get no progression with the Magneto shit because they all went off camera, and we get Roberto. You know, I say this. I guess Roberto finally used his power.
And then stop being a bitch.
Yeah, so maybe that's something like he used his powers for the first time.
I don't think he give that much of a fuck about his parents seeing him. I think he give that much of a fuck because he'll lose his money. His parents will cut him off.
Maybe. Either way, he don't want his parents to know that he's a mutant. But at the end of the day, nigga, your life is on the line.
Right?
Like, do you not see that?
Shit, it took you damn near dying.
Yeah, man.
Use a little bit of your powers. You too old to not have at least a couple of basic moves because you've been hiding your shit for so goddamn long.
I think he's been suppressing it, like just trying to be like a human. So he probably hasn't trained or none of that shit.
Well, that's the difference between somebody with money with powers and somebody without money with powers. Because a broke motherfucker would have been perfected that shit.
So let me ask, like, going forward, what do you think? Is there anything? Because based off this episode, I don't know. I mean, they got this Storm shit. Do you think she about to just magically get her powers back now? Because
I don't think Storm gets her powers back. To be honest with you, I think they bring in another black person to replace her. Because now Bishop going too, and now she ain't got no powers, and we ain't got no niggas on screen. So I think they're gonna bring him. He not a part of the X-Men though.
Yeah, and I think she's. So let me ask you this.
I don't think that nigga black. I think he like Hispanic or some shit.
He's some shit. But let me ask. So in your situation, like, okay, hold on. How do you think they're going to get out of this on the next episode? Because this was part 1.
Out of this adversary shit?
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, damn. Yeah, you're right. The only way they can write themselves out of this is if the motherfucking X-Men pull up out of nowhere. Because Forge ain't got no real like boxing powers or some shit. Like that nigga can just build.
He's an inventor.
Like this nigga is Tony Stark with no suit. Kind of.
He can build one. He can build the suit,
but he need the tools, bro. You put this nigga in a cave, he can't do shit.
That's what he said. Like he didn't even have the resources.
That nigga was too broke. That's literally what that was. Nigga said I was too broke to make anything, and they gave me the money and the resources I need to make shit.
X.
But like I said, either the X-Men pull up and come box for these niggas, or Storm ends up getting her powers back.
Isn't Forge in isn't he like in a future time too? Or no?
Nah.
Oh, okay. He's in regular time.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think the X-Men gonna pull up. But they did put Storm in this machine, and he was thinking that she was gonna get her powers back. She didn't get them, and he was still working on the machine. I'm just wondering if it's like this thing where they're like, okay, she gonna get her powers back, but it's like at a certain moment, that's when she's gonna get it. Cause I don't know how else she gonna. This thing got her in its claws, like it's like an owl type monster thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
and the adversary kind of cold for a villain.
Yeah, and they said they feed off misery. And she was miserable without her powers.
Your tears, bitch.
Yeah, so I don't understand any other way that she can get out of this without getting her powers. Maybe Forge can do some cold shit. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't see like this adversary motherfucker can like manipulate the surroundings and shit. Like they can basically do whatever the fuck.
I mean,
I don't know what the fuck either one of these niggas gonna do.
That's the shit that happened in Thor too. Like you said, with Thor, he didn't have his powers whenever he was fighting. In the first movie, he was fighting the big villain, and he didn't even have his power. And then he ended up getting them like mid fight. So I don't know.
I feel like we need. Well, nah, they ain't gonna give it because I feel like they done already gave all the lore that they're gonna give in the past and shit like that. They're not gonna reintroduce motherfuckers.
What you was gonna say?
I don't know. Like maybe if we find out that she is like really some type of goddess or some shit that comes from another place or something, and like something happens to where she able to tap back into that shit. Maybe some shit like that. Maybe she's not necessarily a mutant. She is a goddess. That would make sense because the same thing happened with Thor. Thor got his power snatched up, and then he became worthy again. He was straight again. So I don't know. Maybe they end up rewriting her character to do some shit like that. But otherwise, like I don't know, bro. I don't know.
So how do you feel overall about the whole 2-part thing they did in this episode with the Jubilee and Roberto, and then the second part with Forge and Storm?
I think doing this much of a 2-part where it's like 60-40 is it kind of makes for an ass episode, bro. Like I was not digging on this episode that much.
Yeah, I agree. To me, this is probably the worst episode
because everything happened way too fucking fast. Like it was like I said, it looked cool, and the adversary pulling up, that shit was cold. But what else did we get? That's pretty much we got a little bit of information about Forge and how he contributed to the state of things that are in right now.
That's why they called it part 1, so they can go back and add some more next week.
I didn't realize that this was a part. But
it's like a to be continued type thing.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been its own episode.
Man, it could have been 2 episodes separate, and they could have wrapped up
That's what I
the
mean.
shit
Yeah,
how they did the first 2 episodes or 3
that's
episodes.
exactly what I mean. But I salute to them for trying something different, man. I do appreciate the creativity. The video game shit was creative as hell, but the story ain't really there for me. So
It seemed like this is kind of just to prepare us for the live action shit coming, because we got Deadpool coming up and a couple of other things, and I think this is just kind of filler to get to that.
I don't think it was meant to be filler though, because I feel like they was
not filler as in it's gonna connect, just something for us to watch up until that point.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. I mean, like you said, it wasn't really much in this episode because it was like 60-40, and it was like 15 minutes of Jubilee and 10 minutes of Storm and Forge, as opposed to a 25-minute episode of something. So it ain't really much else to really say about it. So
yeah, Marvel, don't do that shit again. That shit not cold. That shit not fire.
Yeah, it definitely sacrifices the story, because all you did was put them in a video game for 15 minutes for no reason.
And like I said, that has been done so many fucking times. I seen that on fucking Teen Titans. They did the same shit 2-3 times.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I definitely feel like this is the worst episode so far. If I gotta rate this episode, which we usually do, I give this whole a 6.
I give this whole a 5.
I almost gave it a 5 too, but I gave it point for the visuals. I do enjoy the visuals.
All of my shit is up based off of visuals. Otherwise, it would be
yeah, man. Is there anything else that we need to talk about this shit, bro? It wasn't shit.
No.
It wasn't shit.
Like I guess we seen a little bit more development from Jubilee. We can see that she's gonna, because I think I was saying before, I think her powers is kind of ass, but now that I know that she can do more shit, or at least we can expect to see more shit from her,
future version of her,
that's dope. But other than that, it was a half video game, half drama, bro. Like, they was doing the whole fucking soap opera for the last 10 minutes.
Before we leave, what you mentioned Jubilee power. What about Roberto's shit? You are interested in?
Still barely seeing what the fuck he can do. I still don't understand his power, bro. Like,
it's some kind of solar power shit.
It seemed like the same shit as Iron Fist, bro. Like, except it's like a stronger ray, I guess. It's like some shit, or not him. Fucking Nova. I'm tripping. Nova has similar power where he can like project.
Nova can fly, right?
Yeah, he can fly.
We haven't seen Roberto fly. I don't know if he can fly.
No, I'm just talking about like the shooting energy from his hands. And
shit. The blast. Oh, a lot of people do that. Fucking Starfire.
That's kind of like a jab. Like, if you would compare this shit to boxing, that's definitely a jab.
Yeah, that's a base level superpower, nigga. Adam Eve.
A lot of fucking do that shit.
Starlight. A lot of people energy blast, nigga.
That nigga got mad jabs, bro. That shit trash.
Yeah, but I mean, so this is a character, Sunspot. I think somebody mentioned that earlier. That's definitely who he is, Sunspot. And I don't know the full like
that's
lore
not a cold name.
I don't know the full lore of the character, so I don't know everything he can do. But it's definitely a base level. Like, sending energy blast is a base level power. Like, a lot of heroes have that.
We gotta see more of this nigga. Otherwise, he's gonna be like the worst character.
It's like being able to fly. Like,
that shit base level as fuck, bro. That shit not impressive,
bro.
I bet you he used the blast to fly at some point. Watch, bet money. He gonna use
that would be colder than him walking around doing these blasts. Walking around is regular.
Bro, all Bishop do is get charged up, and he's still colder than this nigga.
Bishop a time travel nigga though. That's named by him. Time travel is cold, so I give Bishop points for that.
Can he time travel like on his own, or isn't that like a machine or some shit? Even if he built the machine himself, this machine himself, he's still colder than this nigga.
I think Cable can time travel on his own.
Cable can he has like a device, like a watch
Yeah.
or some shit that he uses. But even still, again, way more cold than this sunspot nigga.
Of course. We might have to do a video on Sunspot, man, just to see
No, for what?
to see like if this nigga really like that or not. Because
man, I can look that shit up and bring it to the next episode. That's all.
Yeah, but
that's all that's necessary.
Fuck you, I might do a video. Anyway, man, it's over. This has been another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man.
Shortest episode ever. Yeah.
Out, nigga.
Yeah, man. Do better next week. Discord server community coming soon. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, hit that notification bell too, so y'all can pull up when we go live.
If Luno was here, he'd say, "I make a meal.
I make a meal out of."